but it was very, very practical. This tells you how to run a team, how to run a meeting, how to run a sales team. Talks about all the things that you don't want to do as a salesperson in order to create results, and how that in sales and in communication and in all these different things where you're trying to convince someone to do something, that it is, a lot of it's just determination and relentlessness of trying to get somebody to understand your point. The next book we're going to talk about is The Ultimate Sales Machine. So if you're in sales at all, this is a great book. Now, this is super detail oriented as far as the sales process and how to do this. Now, Chet Holmes is the author of this book. This is an older book, but it's very, very good. The reason I read this book is because I heard an interview with Chet Holmes and Tony Robbins. I am a huge Tony Robbins fan, and one day I will go to one of Tony Robbins' seminars. But Tony was interviewing Chet about just sales in general. And man, he was so easy to listen to and said such good, practical, easy advice that I thought, man, I got to read this. And it had tons of great reviews on Amazon. So I read this book physically with the book. I read this other book physically, but this book was it was not easy to read. The reason it was not easy to read is because there was a lot of underlining. So I'm an underliner in books, and so what I'll do is I'll take this book and I'll have my assistant go back and take the underlined parts and put them in a document so I can refer to it easier, and as opposed to just going back through the book like this. But it was very, very practical. This tells you how to run a team, how to run a meeting, how to run a sales team. Talks about all the things that you don't want to do as a salesperson in order to create results, and how that in sales and in communication and in all these different things where you're trying to convince someone to do something, that it is, a lot of it's just determination and relentlessness of trying to get somebody to understand your point. This is not the whole hammer 'em as far as sales are concerned like that. This is more advice, like I said, how to run a team, how to run a meeting, and methods to go about selling whatever product you're going to sell. Highly recommended for someone in sales. Very, very good read, but a very technical read. Totally different than this. This was enjoyable because it had a lot of stories. This had stories, but this also was something that you could kind of separate from chapter to chapter and kind of get what he's talking about. So Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, highly recommended as well.